This morning, we're going to do something a little bit different. It worked out really well in the first service, although there were some cheaters. But it's been my general experience that the people that come to first service are not as good of Christians. We've been going through the book of First Corinthians, and we've been going through chapter 13, the love chapter. And it occurred to me, every time we teach on Corinthians 13, we always talk about the meaning of the word love in the Greek language, right? Agape, and then we say, just a moment, please, I haven't announced it. Put your hand down. See? Yeah, he's already cheating. And we always talk about agape love as a Christ-like love. It's a giving love, as opposed to like the brotherly love and romantic love and all those. And then we talk about that, and then we forget about it. And then every time we read 1 Corinthians 13, love is this, love is not that, we still think in terms of how we think about love. And so this morning, this is just a little training exercise with money. Every time I use the word love in the sermon, and it is not preceded by the words Christ-like, I will give $1 to whoever gets their hand up first. The choir has a distinct disadvantage here. So you have to be honest, okay? So once again, every time I use the word love without the words Christ-like in front of it, I will give... She was at the first service. So this goes back here to Paul. And in the interest of time, let's do the first chapter of 1 Corinthians, okay? I think I have it memorized by now. And so follow with me. If I speak with the tongues of men and angels and have not Christ-like love, I am just a clanging gong or a noisy cymbal. And if wait a minute, I remember. And if I have prophetic powers, and understand all mysteries, and all knowledge, and if I have all faith so as to remove mountains, but have not Christ-like love, I am nothing. If I give away all that I have, and if I deliver my body to be burned, but have not Christ-like love, I gain nothing. Christ-like love is patient and kind. Christ-like love is not jealous or boastful. It is not arrogant or rude. Let us pray. May we be made in your image, Lord. May agape be our heart's focus, an others-centered passion. Make us like you, we ask. Amen. See, I didn't even do it while I was praying. That's pretty good. All of us would like to win the lottery someday, right? But sometimes, isn't it grand when someone who really seems deserving wins it? And this morning I have great news for you. You have all won the church lottery. You get to listen to my sermon. And I am so happy for you. This is not funny. I have been a student of ministers and preachers all of my life. I've always listened and learned and wanted to be like the great preachers of the past. And I have recently come to realize, with the utmost humility, that I am now one of the greatest preachers on earth, probably in all of human history. I'm guessing you all, especially the Jamesons, are feeling extraordinarily privileged to be sitting under my ministry, listening to the elegant rise and fall of my perfectly pitched voice. You are lucky people indeed. Church lottery winners, all of you. And we should probably keep this quiet, because if it gets out, the community will flood this place and it will get uncomfortable. And so as we realize that I'm not only the best sounding, best looking, smartest, and most polished of all the preachers in the world, here's a bonus. I just love you people. Okay, he really was fastest. And it kills me to give him $1. First time he's paid attention in church for, I don't know. Where was I? I have such Christ-like love for all of you. I really do, even though you're likely jealous of me. But how could you not be, right? This would be boasting. It would be sheer arrogance if it were not true. It might even be nauseating to listen to if I were not so humble and so Christ-like. You know, I should run for president. I bet I could trump all the other candidates. You all know by now that I understand almost all mysteries and have unmatched knowledge. Did you know that even though if you look up the records on the IQ tests, I'm not that close to the top, but in grade school, aware of this, I consciously answered questions wrong to keep the bar low for my peers? I don't think you're buying my honesty here. In fact, to turn the page, you'll get more of that in the election cycle, I'm sure. And to turn the page, if you know me at all, you know that I'm fairly insecure. And most of the time I'm insecure because I am aware of my limitations. And I'll confess this, my flagrant lack of Christ-likeness. Case in point, just this last Thursday, I was walking down Main Street, going to get some lunch, and I looked down on the ground, and there was a dollar bill sitting right next to the wall on the sidewalk, and my first thought was, hey, free dollar. And then I thought, wait a minute, I had $1 in my front shirt pocket. I rarely have $1 in my front shirt pocket because of him. And my next thought was, hey, Craig, why don't you take your $1 and put it on top of that $1? And then whoever comes along will get $2. I had an opportunity to bless a stranger. And so I kept walking. And kept my $1 securely in my pocket. I did get a little self-satisfaction at the kindness of the thought. But now, in hindsight, I wish I had left it. I became a bit disgusted with myself for not having left that other $1. It would have made a much better sermon illustration, to be sure. And here's the real confession. I am not, after all, a very good Christian, but I'm wanting to be one. I am trying to be one. I'm just not getting there very quickly. We all know that our Christian lives are filled with opportunities to do good, to be better tomorrow than we were yesterday, to honor Christ. And sometimes we think, I should do that good thing. And then the mere thinking of it seems to be enough. Becoming like Jesus is not that easy. It's a lot of hard work. Someone this last week said, growing old is not for wimps. How many of you know that? Right? Well, trying to be like Christ is not for wimps either. Trying to exercise Christ-like love, which is called agape, is not for wimps. I sure hope the next time a good deed presents itself, I will do it. You can be sure it'll find its way into a sermon illustration. This part, though, is important to understand about the text we're working through. Christ-like love, or agape, is a thing that always blesses others. It is giving. It is self-sacrificing. Even when we don't want to give or sacrifice, Christ-like love steps out. It leaves the second $1. Sometimes it even leaves the first one. And this I know to be true. Both the Apostle Paul and the Holy Spirit are calling us in this passage to this type of Christ-like love. Christ-like agape is what we strive for. It is also where we most easily fail. A couple of weeks ago, Charlie was telling our men's donuts and coffee group that he felt the word love was overused. Did anybody else? Huh?
Before he was.
I like you better. Charlie was saying that the word L-O-V-E was overused. People use it to mean something like, oh, I just really, that tablecloth. And he had a good point. The passage we're reading is not talking about that kind of feeling. It is talking about Christ-like love. I will take the $1 back if you continue. Others serving, agape. This passage is not telling us to be a nicer person for Jesus. It is not just trying to help us be better. It is exhorting us to selflessness, to Christ-like love. And that is a tough assignment. Even so, as tough as it is Christ's goal for us. Nothing less. C.S. Lewis has a quote that really helps understand the depth of what this is trying to say. C.S. Lewis writes, imagine yourself as a living house. God comes in to rebuild that house. At first, perhaps you can understand what God is doing. God is getting the drains right and stopping the leaks in the roof and so on. You knew that these jobs needed doing, and so you were not surprised. But presently, God starts knocking the house about in a way that hurts abominably and does not seem to make any sense what on earth He is up to. The explanation is that He is building quite a different house from the one you thought of. God is throwing out a new wing here, putting on an extra floor there, running up towers, making courtyards. You thought you were being made into a decent little cottage, but He is building a palace. He intends to come and live in it Himself. Agape, or Christ-like love, is not for wimps, but it is exactly where Christ wants us to live. It's not so very hard to be nice. Nice people are patient. Nice people are kind and lovely and smell good. They are good tippers. They don't get too jealous. They don't boast too much. But agape is not that easy. Agape means sacrificing for others. It literally means to bless instead of curse, to hold on when you want to let go, to turn the other cheek, to carry a cross. And that's tough. So now that we know when we read 1 Corinthians 13, we are not just talking about garden variety love. Okay. No. Man, tomorrow's his birthday. I'm sensing he won't get anything. Sarah, you were first, way first. You know why I didn't pick up that $1? It was just $1. It's like, really? Maybe not. Where was I, Nick? I was just about to use that word. Huh? You weren't listening. I was. I'm going to pay. Christ-like love is patient. We are not talking about just garden variety, you know what. Now that we know we are talking about Christ-like love in this passage, we can go back to the text and let it kind of flower for us a bit. And we've already covered this 2 weeks ago. Christ-like love is patient. Christ-like love is kind. And the patient there that Paul is talking about is not just that you're willing to wait for stuff, but you're willing not to get angry. Literally to push away anger. Christ-like love does that. Now you can do that and be a nice person. But to just push away anger is not enough, because Christ-like love is then kind. And kindness takes movement. In order to exercise Christ-like kindness, we literally reach out and touch people. Christ-like kindness is to add blessing when we have been cursed. To give your coat when you've been forced to give your shirt. Or as Jesus says, to go another mile. To leave the extra $1, Pastor. To bless and curse not. Or as Jesus says, to pray for those who persecute you. In other words, Christ-like love receives the blow and returns a blessing. How easy is that? That's tough. Like I said, agape is not for wimps. And make no mistake, this is in fact Christian or Christ-like love. Agape doesn't have to feel good. It doesn't have to be sweetly emotional. Because Christ-like love is always a matter of obedience to Christ. And it is always the higher way to travel. It is most assuredly the path to abundant life. And even Jesus used the word agape. Did I say it again? Did you hear me? Did I say it? Or is somebody... Okay, you are messing with me. Didn't I say Christ-like love, or did I say agape?
You said agape.
Come here, Nick. You want to make a buck? Come here. Come on.
I don't trust you.
This one's for you, and this one's for Glenda. Go, come on. I don't have time to play this game. We got to get out of here early. I made the same mistake in the first. I'm almost out of dollars. Don't worry, we're going to take an offering in a minute. I'll get some more. All right. Thank you, Nick. He worked hard for that one. Get off of there. You see, Glenda's on session, and had I not given her $1? Anyway. Yeah. So Jesus said these words, "You shall the Lord your God with all of your heart, mind, strength, and soul, and you shall your neighbor as yourself." And when he says those, the word is agape. Literally, Christ-like love. He doesn't say be affectionate toward God and be nice to your neighbor. He says agape. Boy, that has teeth. That moves us. And so as we look at Paul's point this morning, Christ-like love is not jealous. It is not boastful or arrogant or rude. Each of these things that agape is not reflect a self-focused life. Jealousy, envy, arrogance, boasting, and rudeness. The very nature of agape is others-centered. It does not draw attention to itself. It draws attention to the other. Agape, or Christ-like love, is not jealous, envious, arrogant, or boastful. Each one of these characteristics are self-seeking, growing out of the sin of pride. Albert Einstein said the only thing more dangerous than ignorance is arrogance. Christ-like love is not arrogance. Arrogance refuses to humble itself. It refuses to learn. Tolstoy said, now that I'm quoting people, an arrogant person considers himself perfect. That is the chief harm of arrogance. It interferes with a person's main task in life, becoming a better person. Pride, arrogance, hubris is at the top of almost every list of sins. Christ-like love is not like that. Christ-like love is not self-centered. It is others-centered. Arrogance is, in fact, ungrace, and so quickly it becomes rude. Don't you enjoy rude people? There was an impatient diner who asked his waitress one day as she brought him his donut and coffee, "Why is my donut smashed flat?" And she replied, "Well, sir, when you asked for your donut and coffee, you said step on it." Who was rude? Rudeness is repulsive. Christ is not like that. Christ-like love is not rude. Christ-like love, agape, is not arrogant or puffed up. It is not jealous or rude. It is not self-focused. Christ-like love focuses on others. And finally, Christ-like love keeps its promises. I promised last week to preach a short sermon. So, the end. I believe we have a song to sing. I just don't believe I know what it is. 358. Let's stand. Help us accept each other.